Hello everybody, Max here with A1 Website Pro, and today I'm going to show you how to transfer a WordPress content management system. And it doesn't matter how big it is, but you're going to be able to do it quickly and efficiently from one server to another server. And I'm going to show you how that's done in this tutorial. We're going to use terminal commands, so this is for all you nerdy people like me out there, where we're going to zip everything up. Well, first, okay, let me lay this out for you. First, we're going to dump the database into the file system. Then we're going to zip everything up, transfer it over to the new server, set up another database on the new server, and then we're going to put the old database in on the new server, and we'll unzip all those files on that server. So without further ado, let's get started. Once you get this process down, it shouldn't take you any more than like 5 minutes to transfer even a large website. So I'm in my terminal here. Here's my terminal on training question, the server in training question. If I type in ls, you can see the list of files that I want to zip up. Now what I want to do is, see this wp-config right here? I want to get in there and get the username and password and the database name out of that wp-config file. Now, for security's sake, I'm only going to show you guys the wp-config sample file, and I'm going to do that using Nano, wp-config, and then -sample.php. And whenever we go in there, we'll scroll down on the page here. And right here you can see where it has a database name. So I'm going to need that database name. I'm also going to need the username, and I'm also going to need the password. And whenever I get those three things, I'll be able to dump the database onto the file system. So let me exit out of there. And whenever you need a command, I tried to design A1 Website Pro with developers and programmers in mind. So let's go here to A1 Website Pro, and this little search, get a little pop-up. And maybe you want to know how to, export database. And whenever you click on that, this very first one, export a database, dump terminal MySQL, and that's what you need. Now there's two different commands here, and the reason why is a lot of times whenever we create a user in an interface like cPanel or something of that nature, different tags that we have to add, and unfortunately on this particular one we have to use this syntax as well. Usually you can just use the MySQL dump, use the tag of user, and then put the username and the p tag for the database name, and then the caret to the right, and then do your backup. But we have to use this one here, and let me go ahead and bring that up in the terminal, and I'll show you how we could dump this database, because I have it in my history here. So I'm using MySQL dump with the no table spaces tag. And then I use the user tag for Maximus, the database p tag for train, and then I'm going to export it to data.sql. Now you'll notice the data.sql isn't in any of these files right now, but after I dump it, I'll hit enter, then I have to enter my password, of course. Let me go ahead and try that again. And right away, whenever I type ls, once I type in the correct password, of course, you can see that I have data.sql right there. Now I'm ready to take everything in this WordPress content management system and zip it up. So let me go ahead and hit clear to clear the mess and type ls once again. And what we want to do is we want to take all these files and put them in a nice neat zip file so we can transfer them to our new server. Okay, notice the progression. I haven't changed anything in the DNS yet. All right, I'm still working on this site. So I want to be able to easily pull, whenever I'm signed into my new server, this file. Okay, now I'm getting ready to make a backup file for trainingquestion.com. Now what I want to do is zip everything, so I type in zip, And then I want to use the -r for recursive because I want all the directories and like whatever's in wp-admin, wp-content, wp-includes. Okay, now I will tell you that I went ahead and I updated everything on training question before I'm moving it to the new server. But you type in zip -r, and then what you want to do is give it a name, bk.zip, and then you use the asterisk or the star above the letter 8 by hitting Shift 8, and that gives you that star. And so we'll go ahead and have it back up. Notice it's doing everything, the uploads, the plugins, the WP includes. And whenever I type in ls, I have the backup.zip file. So now I'm ready to go to the new server and pull that information over. Now, if you want to get real technical, when you're transferring a WordPress content management system, basically all you need is the WP content folder. All right. But the one thing that I will tell you is I logged into the trainingquestion.com and I updated the themes, the plugins, the WordPress core, and everything like that. So I could easily just zip everything. I know everything's up to date in this bk.zip. Now, as far as that's concerned, I'm pretty much done here. So I dumped the my data.sql, and it's always a good idea to remove data.sql because we already have it in the bk.zip, the backup.zip file. So this is all ready to come into the new website. Now, what I have to do, but let me just go ahead and exit off of this server, and we'll minimize our terminal. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my ISP config. Now, you may have cPanel, Plesk panel, Wabuzo, or something of that nature. And over here in ISP config, I'm going to add a new website. And this website is going to be trainingquestion.com, QUES.com. And I'm going to leave everything unlimited. Leave the subdomain. I'll do a Let's Encrypt SSL later. I want my PHP to be fast CGI. I'm going to use the default version, and I'm going to make it active. Okay, so now we have training questions set up. I got to go set up a database as well. So let me go ahead and add a new database, and I'll select the site, which is training question, and the database name training. You know what? I'm just going to leave it train. I'll change it later. Now the database user, we'll just go ahead and use my username. The database character set, you always want to use UTF-8. All right, and then that's pretty much it. I'll click save, and I'm already added to that database. Now I need to log into my new server and transfer those files via my terminal. So I got the database all set up, and if I wanted to make sure that I had the database set up, I could just go ahead and sign into my PHPMyAdmin panel. Let me go ahead, sign into it here, so you guys can see what's going on, and you can see that we indeed have this train with no information in it. Okay, there's one more thing that I have to do here. I need to create a shell user for on my new server. So I'm going to go to sites here in ISP Config, and I'm going to scroll down over here where it says shell users. And I'm going to add a new shell user, and I'm going to pick the new website, and we'll call this username Maximus MCC. Or, we'll just leave it Max. We'll keep it simple. And then the password, I'll go ahead and enter a password for this user. And it's very strong. Let me go ahead and repeat that password. The shell root will none, the quota will leave unlimited, and we'll keep it as active, and we'll click save. And whenever that one disappears, that means that we will be ready to log into our new terminal. And you can see that the server is server.googlewebsitepro.com, and we'll be able to get the Notice the username is Maximus Max. So that's what we'll be using to log into this particular one. So let me just go ahead and copy that. We'll bring up our terminal. Go ahead and clear everything. Bring it right here. Let's make it big, nice and big. Okay, so we want SSH and then Maximus Max, M-E-X, at Google, server.googlewebsitepro.com. Let's go ahead and trust the authenticity. Let's go ahead and put the password in there. And so we'll type in ls. There's nothing there, so let's go cd. Right here. Here I am at Maximus Max. Okay, now I want to go back one more folder. And this particular structure, you'll have to understand your own structure, but I want to navigate to that web, cd web. And whenever I go in there, you can see that I have my standard index.html. Now this is where I want to put all my files. So it's important that you have your path correct, because if you don't have your path correct, then things are going to kind of mess up on you. So what I want to do is I want to type in, now notice that I have not changed the DNS. So the DNS is going to go to the current site now that I have my bk.zip on. So I'm going to type in wget https://bk.zip. And whenever I hit enter, notice, look at it, the entire website just comes over just like that, nice and fast, and you can see my bk.zip right there. Okay, now I'm ready to unzip it. bk.zip. And I don't want to replace the, well, yes, I do want to replace all. So if there's anything, I want to replace it all. Now, you'll notice I have my data.sql. Now, the only thing that it doesn't bring over is hidden files, like htaccess files and stuff like that. So you will have to make sure that you recreate that. Now, the other thing that we need to do is we need to import this data.sql into the database. Okay, so once again, you could go back to A1 Website Pro. Now we have export a database. If you want to import a database, you can type in import database. Oh, might help if I spell it right. So you can import a database just by using this syntax right here. And so now notice it starts out with MySQL, username, localhost. Now we don't have to do all that. Let me go ahead and just click copy that. And we will throw this in the terminal, just like so. And we have to have the username and everything like that. So let's go ahead and type in the user Maximus. And we could get rid of the localhost thing, because all we want to do is put the name of the database. And I believe that we call the database C1 train. C1 train. And then, of course, we have data.sql for the backup, like so. And then we'll hit enter, and we need to put the password. And we have been denied. So let me go ahead and make sure that we have the correct password and everything. Okay, so what the problem is, I believe it's not Maximus, it's C1 Maximus. And so we'll just go ahead and do this again. Type in the password. Let that do its thing. Blah, 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 blah. All right, and then that's it. So that wasn't too bad, was it? So let's go ahead and check our PHPMyAdmin. Now notice there wasn't anything in train, but whenever I refresh it, look, all that information has come there just like that. Isn't that cool? Nice and quick. And you know what? The only thing that you have to do now is change the DNS to the new server. And guess what? I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, now currently the trainingquestion.com, I'm in my Cloudflare under my DNS because Cloudflare's so easy to make the DNS records. You could add records and take records away, but just for simplicity's sake, you can see that trainingquestion.com is pointed toward this IP address. This is the server address. And then I have a www, that means www.trainingquestion.com is also pointed to that IP address. So what I got to do is get the IP address to my current server and point it there. And so the IP address to the new server, I would just click here, click edit, and put the new IP address to that server, and then click save there and do the same thing there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will be right back. I'm not going to show you the IP address because it's not a good idea to expose your IP address if you don't have to. So let me go ahead and take care of that, and I will be right back. Now the final thing that I have to do is I need to go into the wp-config and adjust my settings to reflect the connection to the database. And so I'll just go ahead and nano into the wp-config sample. Okay, go into there, and whenever you scroll down here, this is what we got to edit. We got to define the database name, the username, and then put in the password, and then we'll save it by hitting Control O, and that'll write it to the system. But now what I'm going to do is go in there and actually edit my wp-config, but since there's passwords and stuff in there I don't want people to see, I'm going to do it off video. Okay, so let's bring up a browser and type in trainingquestion.com and hit enter, and voila, already we're on the new server. Now one thing that I will tell you, whenever I go to click 3 simple ways to stay young, you'll notice we get this error. And the reason why is because the htaccess file was not transferred over. And so there's a couple of different ways to create an htaccess file. We could just get the htaccess file. We could type in htaccess for WordPress, and there's several websites that'll give you the htaccess, but I just recommend going to wordpress.org. And right here, you can just grab this particular file, copy it, go back to your terminal, and then type in nano.htaccess and paste that right in there. Okay, and then write it out by hitting Control O and enter, and then exit out of there. And let's go ahead and bring up our website here, where we're getting a 404 error. And notice now we can see that we have that. Now there's another way to do it when you log into your WordPress. You could just go to the permalinks, and let me show you how to do that real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the htaccess because it's a good idea to know how. Now it's gone. So oh, by the way, if you want to, you can't see the htaccess on here unless you use the -a. So ls-a, then you could see the hidden files. Okay, so like the wp-config and so on and so forth. But we removed the htaccess. But I'm going to show you how to put it back on there via if you're logged into the WordPress. So wp-admin. Let me just go ahead, log in here real quick. And if we come down to the settings here, to permalinks, I like to use just the post name for the permalinks. And when I hit save changes, you'll notice that whenever we go here to see the htaccess file, it created an htaccess file. You can't see it up here because we removed it, but WordPress went ahead and put it in there for you. So now whenever we go to the training question on the front end, and we click 3 simple ways to stay young, we can see that indeed we do have our website content. And that's pretty much it. And once you have this down, hell, you could transfer a huge website within like 5 minutes. This is Max with A1 Website Pro. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and tell other people, if they're looking to code and do things in a more efficient manner, I'll be more than willing to help them. And I will talk to you soon.